What happens when two successful entrepreneurs get together for a drink? They talk shop, of course. So grab your favorite cocktail and sit alongside Scott DeLong and Vince Moiso, two seasoned business leaders that have driven their own companies to success, as they share from their experience and dive deep into the secret sauce that can turn a company around. The CEO Podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, Scott DeLong. I'm here with my friend Vince Moiso. We're on another episode of the CEO Podcast. The other day, actually a couple weeks back now, we were talking about some of the books that we like to share, and I buy you a book once in a while, you send me one, and we start talking about that. And there was one that made a dramatic impact on your life. I think that's the word you use, but maybe there's a different word. It's called Atomic Habits, written by a gentleman named James Clear. So we thought we would start the discussion off about what you got from the Atomic Habits, where I agree, disagree, and we can just kind of debate and discuss the concepts that were in this book.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be discussing with or without this book. I think the topic of habit and the power of habit is worthy of a podcast, probably multiple podcasts, right? We could talk a lot about it, and this book just happened to resonate the most with me. It's in my top 10. I've written summaries on my top 10 books.
Find those summaries at vincemoiso.com.
Yeah, you can get it, download it for free. Just check it out. But Atomic Habits, of course, he's referring to, the little things, right? The little things that you do to set yourself up for success on a daily basis. So he's talking about, these just making these really simple changes, tiny changes, right? That can totally change your life, completely change your life.
So I like that you use that, because one of the things that I do when I'm looking for a book is that I look for the subtitle, not the title. Atomic Habits. And this is Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results.
Yeah.
Easy and proven way to build good habits and break old ones. That's a great subtitle. So that's what hooks me.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize, I've said this to you before. I was already putting into practice a lot of the things that he talks about in the book, and not realizing I was putting them into practice until I understood the concept of what he's talking about. And I said, oh, wow, I'm doing that. And then it becomes a repeatable process.
And that makes you more aware, and therefore you do it
Totally. You do it more. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. So if I start to implement this with a lot of other things that I'm going to be more consistent at that. Right. And I think consistency is a big thing when we talk about habits, especially with some of the concepts that he talks about in the book. But I gave you the example of if I can break it down by just experiencing, just sharing the experience and what I actually do, that I realize, wow, these are the tiny things that he's talking about. So people have often accused me of being disciplined, and I say,
accused you?
Yeah. So I always smile, because I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm really disciplined. What they don't realize is that I've just stacked up these habits, that these tiny habits that actually bring huge results for me. And I'll just give you one.
Layering things on top of each other to make sure that you can't break it.
Correct. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right. Okay. Example that I'm going to give you is, my ability to get up in the morning and get a workout in the morning. I know that I'm the most productive when I work out in the morning. I have my most productive days. Okay. So I try to do as often as possible. If I can get 4 or 5 days in a week, I'm gonna do it, and that's what I aim for every week. And there's a couple things that I do to make that happen. First thing I do is put it on my calendar. So it's actually, I have that visual written. I'm working out at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. whatever it's going to be. Right. That's on my calendar. Second thing is, I joined CrossFit. So I'm big into CrossFit. And the one reason I like CrossFit is because I have a coach. It requires you to sign up. It's a class, right? Like you can't just roll in.
So now you're accountable to a person, not just a calendar.
No. So now I have this other layer of accountability. Okay. So I got to sign up for the class. So I'm committing to it. So I'm committed on my calendar. Now I'm committed to a person. Then I'm going to show up to that class. Then in addition to that, the night before, I put my workout clothes out. So instead of waking up at dark 30 and trying to fumble through my drawers and my closet to find the stuff that I'm going to go work out in. It's all laid out, ready to go. So all I do is pop up, put that on, and I'm ready to go. I do one other thing is then I put a banana out, I put a granola bar out, and I've got my water sitting out, I've got my workout bag. Everything's there so that when I get up, I'm just throwing the stuff on. I'm grabbing my bag. I'm grabbing my stuff, and I'm on.
I'm going to go tongue in cheek here because you say people accuse me of being disciplined. It sounds like disciplined equals anal retentive.
No, but what I realized. So listen. It sounds a little bit like that. Admittedly, that being said, is those are the tiny little habits, the simple habits that I've created to ensure that I get my ass out of bed and into the gym.
So how many workouts have you missed then? The ones that you planned in this fashion, how many have you missed?
I can count on one hand.
Really?
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm talking maybe one or two.
And it's not because you hit the snooze button.
No,
it's because something happened.
It was, I woke up and I was feeling, so bad sick, that physically it didn't make sense for me to go. Or, I think one other time that I can think of, it was just something else came up, a family matter. And it was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to, work out a different time.
Life does happen.
Beyond that, it keeps me going. Now, with that said, I do wake up. I'm just as normal as everybody else in the sense that I have this conversation with myself as I'm laying in bed and the alarm goes off and I'm telling myself, don't.
It's just one day.
You can skip this one. It's not going to kill you. So I've got to have this conversation. And it's like, shit, I got all my stuff out. I got that stuff waiting for me downstairs. I've already signed up. I don't want to get crap from my coach. So then I have that conversation and I go, okay, I get up and do it. And then I get myself there and there isn't one time where I'm at the end of the class going, wow, I wish I would have never done this. No, every time I'm saying, I'm so thankful I just got up and did this. And I know that just gave me the energy to have a productive day.
So here's how I looked at that. You brought that back at the end and go back to the Stephen Covey habit to begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
That piece that you said at the end that said, there's not one time that I regretted doing all of those things.
Yeah.
Makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know what the end result's going to be.
Yeah.
Therefore, you got to put in the work. You got to
do it.
You got to do the thing, whatever it is, whatever that thing is.
But I know if I give myself an inch, just like anybody else, I give myself an inch.
To make sure that you do the thing that you've committed. Yeah. It's easy to break a commitment to yourself, somewhat for some.
Yeah.
But you've added the coaching to that layer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You probably told your wife about it.
Yeah.
She's going to give you a hard time if you miss it.
Yeah.
Too. Right. So commitment to other people makes sense to me as well.
Well, he calls it to the term that he uses, habit stacking. So basically what I've done is I've stacked a bunch of different habits on top of each other, which just totally enhances,
adds power,
enforces that I'm going to get that done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you can do that. So think of it in this way. So I shared just that one specific example, and I've applied that to many other things in my life. And think about that for a second. Think about stacking a bunch of different habits like I just described that puts you in a position to optimize whatever it is that you want to achieve for the day, for the night, whatever, for the week.
Can you think of a business example that you can share with us?
Yeah, sure. So let's talk about business. So for me, the true habit is I'm just a really calendared individual. We've talked about own your calendar concept, and for me the habit stack is the first step is it's got to be on my calendar, and then I'm going to own it. I'm going to hold to it. So in a previous podcast, we talked about one-on-one meetings, right? When we were talking about management, that's incredibly important to me, and the commitment to hold that is that then the other thing that I do is that person that I have the meeting with, I'm checking in with them. So I've got an email to them, right, to confirm the meeting and have them confirm to me. And now I've got this other layer of accountability that's going to happen to make sure that we're going to hold that meeting. And then in addition to that, right, I've got a whiteboard, in my office,
Okay.
right? And oftentimes what you'll see in there is the priorities for the week, the priorities for the day, things like that. So I've stacked
A layered
calendar, email, whiteboard. So I've got a lot of visual representation that's going to hold me accountable to those type of things. There's another thing. So from another book, you've heard me say this before. Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Workweek. I love it. He asked the question of himself. Are you being productive or just being active?
Busy.
And I have that written on my whiteboard. So it's a constant reminder, a visual reminder of. Am I focused on productivity? So again, that's just a little habit. It's just a tiny thing that I do to ensure that throughout my day in business, that I'm staying focused on how I've defined productivity for that day.
So I liked your example of the workout, and where it works for me is so I try to be true to myself as well and not break my commitments to myself.
Yeah.
Yes, but I can break a commitment to myself because I have a reason. There's an excuse. There's something that I can fall on.
Yeah.
But I was laughing when you were talking about that because a year ago I started riding a Peloton bike.
Mm-hmm.
My wife wanted to buy it. I didn't want it. But I knew it needed to get ridden because I'm paying for it because I'm cheap that way, right? Yeah. So I'm the one that's going to go ride it. Now she's doing it too, but I'm riding it and I made a commitment to ride that.
Yeah.
And what got me through the first few sessions of that is that person. So I don't need the cheerleader. I don't need the people, go Peloton. I don't need that. But I made a commitment to that gal that's riding with me that I'll be there and I'm going to show up and I'm not going to quit because I don't want to disappoint her.
Yeah.
And she's fictional. Like, I'm never going to meet this person.
Yeah.
I have no relationship at all with this person, but that accountability thing, I'm accountable to that television screen. So the accountability piece makes a lot of sense. So if I can habit stack and add somebody else in that mix, that makes it even that much more powerful to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, so let's talk about something else. There's another topic that he talks about is we often, as human beings, imitate those that we surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm. And so you find yourselves imitating behavior. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I'd say, or what I'd caution you, is careful who you surround yourself with, and if you want to change your behavior in any way, right? If you want to make a life change and you're not getting things done the way that you want, one of the first things that you should really check is who you are surrounding yourself with. There's
an old saying that you become the average of the 5 people that you hang out most with,
sure.
Right?
For sure.
And at first it sounds like, well, no, because I got these people that are lazy, or I got these people that are here in my life, but I will become the average of those people over time. And that's a really powerful motivator for me to make sure that I'm, I hate to say it like this, but upgrading the people that I'm hanging out with, right? Being around the people that I want to emulate, looking for those mentors, those coaches, those people that, so I even take a look at, fictional characters, to me fictional, but people that you might see on TV, athletes, politicians, whoever that you might see, the famous people that have something going on. We talked about executive presence. There are people that I want to present like, and I bring them into my world, whether it's virtually or in person. If I can find someone else with those characteristics, hanging out with someone that has some of those characteristics. I'll give you a great example. A really good friend of mine, Troy Hoffman. I met him in EO, and there's all kinds of things about Troy, but the thing that he is best at, in my mind, and he's got all these creative ideas, but the thing that he is best at is humility. And that was the thing that I was lacking most in my life. Mm-hmm. I thought I was pretty awesome, right? But I wanted to learn humility, learn and do that. And so I wanted to spend more time around Troy. Yeah. Because that is a humble human. Yeah. And the way he goes about things. And if I can pull some of that, so make that one of my 5 people.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that I want to learn the most.
I love that. Well, and identify that. So, one of the things that you can do is just identify some of the traits that you might want to have, or some of the habits you might want to have, or some of the things that you want to do. And then you've got to surround yourself with people that can help get you there, because we will likely emulate those we look up to. And that's just a reality, right?
I'm going to go say one more thing about Troy and this humility thing. He doesn't even know that's the reason I wanted to hang out with him.
Wow.
Because he's so humble about
he will now. Does he listen?
Yeah, he listens. He better listen.
He will now. Well, they say, the old adage is, when you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to find another room.
Get a new room.
Yeah, and it's just so true. There's so much truth to that. So I think.
So we need some guests, just to make me feel. Anyway, just saying.
Well. I want to talk about something else that James Clear talks about in his book too, and that's the power of thought. So as we talk about habit and the power of habit, the power of thought, I think is so critical to this. So this is what I mean by that, right? If you think you're bad at something, what do you think is going to be the likely result? You're going to be bad at that, or you're going to resist it, or just avoid it altogether. That's just what's going to happen. So we tend as human beings to move toward things that we're good at and move away from things that we think we're bad at. And really the key word in that is the things that we think we're bad at, right?
So I like a quote from Henry Ford in this, and it says, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
You're absolutely right. I love that quote. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
That's such an appropriate quote.
Yeah.
And it's so true in what we're talking about here. So, the power of thought can drive habit. Absolutely. So if I'm thinking that I'm bad at math, right? And then I'm working in business and I'm an owner of a business, then I don't want to do financials. I don't want to look at my financials. I don't want to look at my P&L. I don't want to look at my expenses because I'm bad at math and I don't understand it very well. Well,
or bad at discipline about spending. That could be another reason I don't want to look at those things.
Yeah, but by the way, like, you get that out of your head tomorrow, entrepreneurs. If you're owning and running a business, forget that. If you're telling yourself that you're bad at math, you got to get that out of your head. And the moment that you can remove that thought, then it opens up the possibility that you're probably not all that bad at math, right?
Yeah, I agree. But I want to go back to that point to talk about entrepreneurs. There are two things that I think entrepreneurs need to own. The first one is know your numbers and learn how to deal with people.
Yeah.
Now, there's systems, there's processes, there's whatever.
Yeah.
You can hire that person. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, a good entrepreneur, know your numbers, even if you don't like math, and deal with people.
Yeah. Well, treasure your people, right? Empower your people. That's equally
Teach them,
important.
train them, coach them, empower them. All that. So I'm sorry, this is off topic, but
no, it's fine. It's totally relevant, but that's a habit that an entrepreneur needs to embrace.
I can hire a COO. I can hire a COO.
Yeah.
But I need to be the face. I need to understand the math. I need to understand.
But what do we we just talk about though? Is like, we're likely to imitate those that are around us. So when you're in business, so let's just take this to the business front. Hire people that are better than you, right? If embrace math and hire somebody that's really good at it, right? You can do that.
And then learn from them.
Embrace people and hire somebody that can really help get you there, right? So that's the bottom line is like if you surround yourself with people that are better than you, you're likely to eventually imitate them.
Go back to the power of thought. Let's circle back. Thoughts lead to behaviors. Behaviors turn into habits.
Yeah.
Habits turn into this success process that you're talking about.
Totally.
Getting what you want.
Right. So what is that? So he talks about systems versus goals, right? And so kind of what we're talking about, you alluded to it a second ago, is creating a system, is creating a process. So if I start to create this process of habits, right? These small things that I'm doing on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, right? In business, it can be everything from strategic planning to your daily huddle to, the one-on-ones to the weekly sales meetings, whatever the meetings are, right? Like, you start to build out these habits that just stick. year in and year out, right? These are the things that potentially lead to success. Those are systems.
Yeah.
Those are systems. Yeah. Those are clear systems versus goals.
See, I hear people, employees in particular, talking about, another meeting or we just go to this thing and we run through the motions, though. So there's a whole concept on making your meetings matter. But I like the concept of making them habits.
Right.
And things that people can count on. Not just me, we're going to do this, but they can count on to get whatever it is that they need. And then that habit becomes part of my systems. And the systems are important. You said something that came from the book. The systems are more important than the goals.
Talk
about that.
Yeah. So here's what he says, though, is he says that the system is what allows you to achieve your goal. Yeah. The goal doesn't achieve the goal.
Right. Goal doesn't achieve the goal. So when I first heard that, when I first read that, I'm thinking, no, goals are important. This whole concept of strategic planning, which I'm big.
They are,
right?
Yeah. No,
begin with the end in mind, create this vision.
Yeah.
The objectives, the goals, strategies.
He doesn't say set goals. He's not saying don't set goals. Absolutely, you're going to set goals. He's just saying that
you need a system in order to make that goal happen. Bingo. They don't just happen on their own because we wrote it down once.
Bingo, that's it. You know, and he's saying, and he's arguing that the system is more important than the goal, right?
But why would you create a system if there wasn't a goal? So the more important thing I'm struggling with because...
Well, it's the habit because I didn't necessarily set a goal. So if I go back to my personal example of working out, I didn't set a goal to work out. I wasn't setting a goal to work out 5 days a week or anything like that.
You set a vision of what you wanted to feel like, look like, whatever.
No,
right?
It wasn't even a vision. It was that I understood that I was more productive when I worked out in the morning, and so I set the system up.
Cause and effect. So you're a cause and effect guy.
So that's what he's saying is like you don't have to have a goal to set up a system. He doesn't diminish the importance of goals in any respect. He's just simply saying that systems are more important overall. And you're right. The way that you said it, I think was very appropriate. Is that the system, are these habits? It creates the habit. Yeah. So like I know in my business is week in and week out, I can count on. I know what my Mondays are going to look like. I know when my one-on-ones are. I know what my Fridays are going to look like. I know those meetings are set every week. It's habit. It's just ingrained in what we do. The follow-up that we do on the one page, right? The accountability that comes with that, all those things are set. That's a system. It's created habits within the business. It's created organic accountability as a result of that. And that is what drives us to achieve our goals.
So let's talk about that for a bit, because you've created this system and trying to instill this habit.
Yeah.
Do people buy into it? Or are they just going through the motions? Or how does that work a layer or two down from you deciding?
Oh, we got to get buy-in. You got to have buy-in. Okay. You got to be bought into it, right? It can't become a habit, unless you're bought in to what's going on.
So they need to know the why this is important.
Yeah.
Right, just as you did.
Well, and it also doesn't happen immediately. I think when you start to achieve results, results are very powerful, right? As results come in, it's a heck of a lot easier to be bought into the system, to the habits, whatever it is that you need to create.
So, Vince, one of the other things that Clear talks about in his book is gratification, right? And he separated it between immediate gratification and delayed gratification.
Yep.
So I've got some thoughts on that, but I want to hear yours first, and then we can bounce back and forth on. Give me the concepts from the book on this immediate versus delayed gratification.
Well, sure. Innate human behavior is we want immediate gratification,
sure
right?
We do.
Amazon has brought that to a whole other level, right? So like, we're living...
I can't believe it didn't deliver today.
We're living in the Amazon world, right? We're living in the Amazon Prime world, right? It's you're getting stuff the day after. It's insane, right? So we live in a world of this just innate behavior for immediate gratification. But the reality is that there's really a lot of power in delayed gratification. So investment as
401k
as an example, 401k.
You give up a beer today,
yeah.
Put that in that you never even notice, right? And all of a sudden you're a millionaire.
Yeah. That's
not all
it.
of a sudden, but
it happens over time, you know. So if you look at, you know, the Warren Buffett style of investing, right? You know, he puts all his money in one or two things, and he lets that run for 2 decades. You know, he doesn't care. They're not looking for. He's not the day trader, right? So the stock guy wants this immediate gratification. So he's going to play the short, or he's going to invest in a stock that he thinks is going to hit that day or the next day. But most guys that are successful in investing, they want delayed gratification. Yeah. So it's a concept that is contrary to our innate human behavior. So what he talks about is the challenge is creating habits that drive delayed gratification, because there's a lot of benefit to delayed gratification. So then it is.
But don't we need some of the immediate gratification, like
we do,
small wins, victories, things like that?
We do. So it's not. He's not diminishing instant gratification at all. Okay. But what it is like. So can you create habits that provide both in your world?
So balance that, right? So get the small term victories with some of these habits that lead to this long term thought process. Mm-hmm. So I look at, I mentioned 401ks, and the advice I give my children is that the next time you get a raise, fine. Don't recognize the raise.
Just
put that into your 401k. Let the company match it. Your raise just got bigger. Yeah. You may not see that for a while. But it will turn out. So that's, I use the examples. One beer you're giving up this week. Right? That's what the raise is worth. Is one beer.
Well, and the beer is the immediate gratification, right? Yeah. Whereas, you know, that the money put toward a 401k is that delayed gratification, and we have a hard time connecting to it. Yeah. So it really is all about connection. So at the end of the day, when you think about this book, Atomic Habits, is how can you create connection to what you want? Right. And he's saying one of the ways that you can do it is creating these small things, right? These tiny habits.
What he's saying is that, and it's not that hard to do that because they're small.
What I've done with investing, you know, personally is that, you know, over the years, I take money and forget about it, right? Like, so a monthly investment, right? $300 that's coming out every single month. And I treat that as that's money I just don't have. Right. That's it.
And you don't miss it.
Yeah.
Because you never had it.
So, you know, auto pay is actually a great thing. Believe it or not, that's a habit, right? So setting up auto pay then, you know, allows you not to see those balances within your account. You know, it's going to automatically happen. So it's not relying on you to go physically do it. So again, those are little tiny things that you can do to set yourself up for success. And I'm talking about just investing.
And it doesn't matter what the habits are. Build the habits that will lead to your vision of success.
Yeah.
What is it? The end result, like the covey feet.
Yeah.
Give it the end in mind and then work backwards.
Yeah.
And so build habits that will lead to that.
Yeah.
And if they're little tiny changes, leads to remarkable results. Which
That's
is
it.
The subtext of the book.
Well, life changing as far as I'm concerned. You know, I understood after I read this book that, you know, I was doing a lot of these things already, and then I understood that it was a repeatable process. So I could bring it into business. I could bring it into the things that I do with my wife. Right? Like, I mean, just the little things that I do for my wife to make sure.
You just don't want to tell her these are habits that you're doing for her.
No, but these are. I had to set myself up for this. So I give one example is, you know, she's a Diet Coke fiend, and that's what she drinks. She doesn't drink coffee, she doesn't drink tea or anything like that. She likes Diet Coke. Great, that's her thing, right? And so she likes specifically McDonald's fountain, you know, ice drink, right? And so a lot of times I'm you know, when I'm coming home and there's a McDonald's right there, I drive through and bring her home a Diet Coke, you know? And it's just a simple habit, but it brings joy that I show up at the door with this. You know, it's such a silly little thing.
That cost you 2 minutes and $1.
Yeah,
right?
$1.08.
Yeah.
And took 2 to 5 minutes for me to get, and it's a world of happiness for my wife in that moment. Yeah. And so it's really little things like that I've created as even habits for my relationship. I've done it with my kids. the way that I speak to my kids, the habits that I create with my kids, the habits that I tell them to create for themselves to set themselves up for success. So again, I'm telling you guys, read the book if you want more detail. Download the summary that I have if you want that level of detail. You can get the Cliff's Notes on it. But more importantly is if you can implement these little habits within your life, it's life-changing. Absolutely life-changing.
So let's go one step further, because I think this part's important as well. So you go to the subtitle of the book, Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones. Mm-hmm. The process of breaking the bad habits. I mean, if I'm used to something, it's one of my bad habits. I can just tell you one of my bad habits. I go on a road trip. I'm driving somewhere. I'm stopping at AM, PM, and I'm getting this big, gigantic soda, and I'm getting a box of candy.
Yeah.
That's not a great habit, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a process that I had to train myself. When you stop for gas, you pay at the pump, and you do not walk in that store. Because had I walked in that store, I would have bought a box of candy,
of course you would,
and bought a soda.
Yeah.
Now, the first few times I tried that, it was difficult not to walk into the store because that was a habit. That was a compulsion. That was something. Yeah. Is there an easier way to break these habits? I mean,
well, yeah,
I don't know.
Well, so there is. You don't put yourself in that position. So I'm going to tell you what the easy answer is. Don't go to a gas station that has a convenience store.
Oh, dang. Wish I would have thought of that.
Right. So you find out what the gas station is that doesn't have a convenience store, and that's the gas. That's where you go get your gas. You know who doesn't have a convenience store? Costco Gas. So go get.
Oh, pain in the ass to go into Costco to go buy something.
Sure it is, but you're not going to go.
But the gas station,
it's far away from the store. Right. It's not convenient, so you're not likely. I mean, and Costco is not a convenient store. You're walking out with you're walking out with a cart of stuff.
Yeah.
So you're not likely.
That's enough candy for the whole road
your
trip.
Mind doesn't put yourself. So. Okay, he talks about a few other things.
Yeah.
If I can lead into this is like, okay, if you're in the kitchen, what are you in the kitchen for?
Cooking, eating, like.
Right. So do you think it's amenable for you to work in the kitchen?
No.
Why? Because your mind.
My home office is upstairs for a reason.
Yeah, because your mind says, so if you're sitting at your counter in your kitchen working on your computer, your mind is saying, this is a place where I eat. And so you're going to, every 5 minutes, you're getting up and going to the refrigerator, and you don't even know why you're doing it.
So I actually watch television upstairs for that same exact reason, because the living room is close to the kitchen and commercials happen.
Well, can I ask you another question? What do you do in your bed? Normally, Scott.
Normally, like on a regular basis. I toss and turn, and I don't sleep very much, but I try to sleep.
Okay, the answer I was looking for was sleep.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to be doing in my bed, but that's not what happens to me.
So would it be conducive for you to work in bed?
No.
Okay, same thing, right? Your mind says bed for sleep, kitchen for eat.
So I've got a habit that I've used, and because I don't sleep well at night, so it's a weird stuff. But I've got a massage chair. Mm-hmm. That my wife bought me a few years ago, and I put it out on this cool patio we have out back, and I get tired during the day, but if I went to lay down and take a nap, I couldn't take a nap. But I go sit in this chair. Yeah. I turn on Sirius XM. I listen to Kenny Chesney. Yeah. His No Shoes Radio. Yeah. At the end of the 15-minute massage, I fall asleep for 20 minutes every single time. That's the power of habit. Yeah. I couldn't take that nap in the bed, which is like.
Well, and your mind equates that. Like it's literally saying, I'm going to get a massage and sleep for 20 minutes. Right. So that habit has created this, process in your body that's just what's going to happen. So, just from the work environment, James Clear talks about you've got to in order to set yourself up for success, you've got to find a space that works, that your mind is then going to equate it with working. Yeah. So here's what I'm talking about is you asked the question, how do I break the bad ones? Right. Okay. So let's say alcohol is that. Well, okay, you can't go to a bar then. So when you get invited to go to the bar, you need to just say no, right? Because if you put yourself in the position where your mind says, I'm going to drink, you're going to drink, right? If you're constantly going to events and that's what's causing you to drink, then
don't
you
go to events.
Don't go to events, right? Yeah. So like you have to remove the thing that is going to draw you to, because the habit's been created. So I love the example that you said, I go to a gas station that has a convenience store and I can't help myself. I'm going to go to the convenience store. I'm going to get a soda. I'm going to get some candy. Okay, so go get your gas at Costco. There's no convenience store.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the change.
There are simple solutions.
That's the change that has to happen, right? In order to remove the
temptation,
the bad habit that was there.
Great. That's good. So, all right, we're at the end now. This was fun. I like that. I'm going to read the book again, actually, because you said it was life-altering, life-changing.
Absolutely.
For you. I've gone through the book and I've highlighted. That's how I read. I highlight things, but I'm going to go through it again and see what it is that I can do to make it as life-changing as what you're talking about. Because I do believe that thoughts create behaviors, turn those into habits, become systems, become success. Yeah. And success defined by what I think success is. I
love that flow chart you just created. I totally agree with it. Great. Yeah, guys, if you want, I tell you, just read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Check out my website, vincemoiso.com. You can download the summaries that I have for free. Just check out the learning section on my website. Happy to share that information. And as always, check out the CEOpodcast.net. We want your feedback. Any topics, anything else. If you got a favorite book, let us know. We'd love to
challenge us. Right?
We're well read. I mean, we've read a lot of books, so chances are there might be a book that hit you as hard as this book hit me, and it'd be a great topic for discussion. So let us know.
All right. Till next time. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for the CEO Podcast. To learn more about Scott and Vince, please visit theceopodcast.net and check out the calendar to tune in for our next episode. While on the site, you can also listen to past episodes, access additional content created for our listeners, and if you would like to dive deeper into any topic, there is an option to schedule some time with Scott or Vince. Thanks for listening.